Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my co-host, well-known radio sports personality Bruce McGowan, and Vern Glenn of CBS affiliate KPIX-TV in San Francisco. Today's show is going to be extra special because of our guest, Gene Immendorf, who's a private investigator to discuss sports from behind the scenes from an investigative standpoint. That'll be very interesting. And at each commercial break, we're going to be asking sports trivia questions where we're giving away vacations to the first 3 emails with the correct answer. The vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by a Lighthouse Resort and Marina. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Check them out. You can also listen to Sports Econ 101 on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and CRN. And we're going to talk about some other stuff today. Hopefully we'll talk about the Super Bowl, of course, and Quicken loans. And Warren Buffett is going to offer $1 billion to anybody with a perfect March Madness bracket. We'll talk about the odds of that happening. Last time we didn't get a chance to talk about Andrew Bynum and his issues about trying to be a team player. Matt Sherzer agreeing to a 1-year deal with the Tigers for $15.5 million. Talk about if any pitcher is really worth that much. Robinson Cano, is he worth 10 years of $240 million for the Mariners? John Smoltz not getting into the Hall of Fame this year. We'll talk about because of the season that he had. Sports franchises, what are they worth? You'll be very surprised to find out where the Yankees really rank in that arena. And finally, Ray Guy is going to make it into the Hall of Fame in 2014. We've been pushing for that for many years now. And believe it or not, the NFL is considering allowing marijuana for medical use, possibly. If you have any questions, email Edward at SportsEcon101, and we'll try to answer on the air. And this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding 8% secured by real estate. It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at PacificPrivateMoney.com. Stay tuned. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, and we'll be right back.
Get it going.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
Sup, America?
And Bruce McGowan.
I don't know what to say after that.
Okay, we are in the studio here with Gene Immendorf.
Gino.
Who is a private investigator, and he's going to learn us all about private investigating and sports.
You know, I'm looking at Gino, and what do you think, Bruce? It looks like little Nomar Garcia Parra.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's just like him.
He's got the Nomar look.
Yeah.
Everything but the batting stance.
and the big salary.
Yeah.
I'm not retired yet.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. How are private investigators used in the sports world?
We know investigation in businesses isn't any different than in the sporting world, Edward, but the stakes are higher. If I was going to hire, say, a box manager or someone for a tech firm, I'd do a background investigation. But, you know, when you're hiring an athlete for an owner or for a franchise, you're talking about millions of dollars. You're talking about long-term contracts. You've got to be much more discreet doing the investigation. You don't want to screw up.
Okay, so I'm kind of curious. I wonder how many players, you know, behind the scenes, an investigator gets hired by the owner or general manager.
Oh, I'm sure in the drafting process it happens all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, at the NFL combines, when the guy goes in to get his formal interview from the team, I mean, they'll have stuff. You cut your ankle when you were in the 3rd grade. What about? I mean, how do they find out about that stuff? The research is amazing.
I'll tell you, Vern.
Yeah, how do you find out about that stuff?
Well, you know, believe it or not, we do go back to where they grew up.
Really?
Yeah, we do. We have investigators. Now, we don't go into the neighborhoods going, hey, I'm a private investigator. I'm just going to walk in here.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
It's discreet, but we have resources. And, you know, you're going to give somebody $20 million or a long-term contract, that kind of investment, you need to know about their character. So we do go back into the neighborhoods, and we do talk to their friends, and we do go to the high schools, and we do go to the colleges, you know. And most of the times for rookies, we're free agents, people that they really don't know much about, or maybe Tennessee should have tried that with Pac-Man Jones before they drafted.
Yeah, exactly.
An example would be, I think today, if Tennessee had a first-round pick, they'd use a private investigator and take a lot more time, you know, checking out the character of the first-round pick. But we don't leave a rock unturned, a dot not
Dotted.
a T not crossed. And we want to make sure that when we bring something back to the client, maybe it's an owner, they're going to pull the trigger on a contract like that. We don't want to leave anything unturned, and we'll do anything it takes to be discreet. But we definitely want to bring back all the information that's possible for them to make the right decision.
If Kevin Costner was here, he would love you. You know why? Because that is one of the central storylines in his upcoming movie called Draft Day. I just went to a screening. It's about what happens on NFL Draft Day in one day. Kevin Costner plays the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, and draft is coming up. Something happens with another team where the first overall pick is in question, and the whole movie is just kind of geared toward, do I pick this guy? Do not? Why does everybody love this guy? There got to be something about him.
It doesn't matter whether they draft him or not. They're still
going to stink.
Fabulous movie, but Gino, right in your wheelhouse. You got to see that movie.
I want to stress, as an investigator, we don't try to find something wrong.
Right.
We don't want to go find out, hey, listen, they're associated with gangbangers. We want to find out, hey, they're back at the neighborhood helping out the kids.
What if you find out they are doing something?
Well, we report that back to our client.
Yeah.
And once again, we don't judge people.
No, you're just supposed to revert the facts.
We put the facts together and give our client the best opportunity to make the right decision. But the best investigation for me is coming back with good news.
What's the strangest thing you've learned about somebody? You don't have to name names, obviously, here, But what's the strangest thing you've ever learned about an athlete that you get? Wow, I mean, it might have. Not necessarily good or bad. It could be good or bad, but just something unusual.
They like women.
Of course.
Well, who doesn't?
Like Aubrey Huff wearing his wife's underwear, right?
What's this rated, this show here? Is it rated G?
Oh, man, we're wide open.
We're wide open. This is America in the 21st century.
Strippers listen to us.
No holds barred.
Strippers come into play.
Damn straight.
That's right. We're going to have our first sports stripper in next week.
That's right.
Well, I will tell you this. This is true. We do look at who they associate with and if they go to strip clubs. Because if they go to strip clubs 5 times a week, that's not a good thing.
So how do the Patriots?
Unless they want to bring me, then maybe.
So in the case of the tight end Hernandez, do the Patriots swing and miss on that one?
Well, it's easy to say now. If you want to know what a private investigator would be used in a murder case in the sports world, I'll tell you right now. This is a police investigation, and it started with 1 murder, and now he's looking at 2.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a lot of money. This guy had a lot of money before this went down. At some point, the Hernandez family is going to hire a private investigator.
Okay.
And they're going to build a case, for his defense, and that's when a private investigator will come into play in a murder case, like in the sports arena. But I don't know. I think they did. I think Des Bryant was an example of everybody knew he kind of had some personal issues and that he was going to maybe be a problem. So he dropped to the 18th pick, but at least they knew what they were getting with him.
Isn't that the guy with the Dallas Cowboys where the guy at the combine asked him if his mom was a prostitute or something?
Ooh.
But he kind of...
What are you hiring? I mean, that's the question.
Yeah. He kind of told you that he was a problem coming out, and and that was a gamble that Jerry Jones took.
Yeah, but how many of these guys, let's say, you can see are probably problems? Wasn't like Kevin Mitchell? Didn't he grow up in?
He had a rough.
Kevin Mitchell grew up in
San Diego, right?
And he grew up a gangbanger.
Yeah.
And Kevin's problem was, and he was really a good guy. Kevin was a really sweet guy. He was a great teammate, but unfortunately, he did go back to the criminal element when he went back, and he got into a lot of trouble. And his career was shortened by association with the wrong people.
Yeah, but I don't think that they, like the Mets or even the Giants, are sorry that they have on the team, right?
No.
So
He was an MVP.
Yeah, exactly. So I wonder how many times you have a situation where the initial prognosis is, man, stay away from this guy, but then it turns out the guy's actually, it's still okay.
Or how about somebody like Ray Caruth? Now, he apparently was a model citizen, had never gotten in any trouble, and all of a sudden he's hiring somebody to murder his girlfriend and hiding in the trunk of the car. I mean, who could have seen that coming?
Well, I think Hernandez did have some red flags, and there is one thing that overrides personal problems sometimes. It's the need of a tight end.
Yeah, sure.
Coming out of the draft, he was like the best tight end in the draft, and Belichick decided, I've got pretty much control of my team. I'm like the head guy here.
Exactly. How many times do they look at it and they say, you know what, I can handle this guy?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, what kind of sentence did Aaron Hernandez get? Has he been sentenced yet?
He's been charged with at least 1 murder, and I think they're going to try to.
Oh, he hasn't gone through the
Oh
trial.
no, he hasn't. No.
Okay,
Wait,
I
if
didn't
two,
think
if two wrongs make a right, then the second murder counteracts the first one, and he's let off, right?
What do do you think when you're making $50 million and you go kill somebody?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, did he do the killing? It sounds like he hired somebody to do the killing, or did he do it himself?
Oh well, no, he was there, gun in hand.
Is
That's
that
what,
right?
that's what they were
And it was
alleging.
his buddy too, wasn't it? A friend of his.
Yeah, but
What was that all about?
He had an argument, I think, over a girlfriend.
Always about a girl.
And it was a minor league football player who he knew, I think, from growing up with.
But he was married. What is he arguing over a girl about?
well,
That's what I was
dude,
enjoying.
come on.
It's
You know how many
Yeah,
NFL,
yeah.
you know how many NFLers have a go ma on the side? Come on.
Goma.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking for Steve McNair. Oof. You heard the story about him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, the woman, I guess he was involved with this younger woman. Wasn't it for a number of years, Fern?
Yeah.
And she killed him. She shot him. And then she did some other things, which we don't need to
that's
talk
right.
about. We don't need to talk about those things,
Yeah.
but it was pretty horrible. And she killed herself. So, gave the state the, they didn't have to send her to trial, so they saved the state some money. I guess that's one
How
positive.
about on the other side, Gino? You're doing the research, and let's say one athlete was hanging with gangbangers, and maybe the gangbangers said, "Hey, Gino, we just we recognize this guy was a talent. We wanted the best for him, so we told him to stay away from us."
Whoa.
That's actually it does happen.
Mhm.
A lot of times the athlete does go back and they say, "Hey, man, you know what? You made it out of here.
Right.
You're
Right.
you're
You
the
got
one-
out of the hood.
You're the one. You're the one that made it. Don't blow it.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's called having at least one best friend in the right place.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
amen to that.
audience, stay with us. Gino, when we come back, why don't you talk about the minor league baseball player? He's got a really cool story. Okay, the trivia theme is NFL quarterbacks. Here's our first trivia question. Who was the first NFL quarterback to throw 3,000 completions? Okay?
Career completions.
Career completions,
Yeah, right.
yeah. Not in one game.
Not one game.
Uh,
Not
the
one
first-
year.
Not 1 year either. Okay, the first 3 emails with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. We're going to do an email this time. Email Edward at SportsEcon101 the answer to this question. Who was the first NFL quarterback to throw 3,000 completions?
Hmm.
All right. Again, email Edward at SportsEcon101.com. Don't touch that dial. SportsEcon101. We'll be right back.
I don't know, Vernon. I'm going to say Johnny U. That sound right?
I was gonna go Dan Marino.
Dan Marino. Yeah.
One
Rather
season.
than the phone number.
Was
we're
it-
doing
not one
emails
season.
now.
In a
No,
career.
no,
In a
no,
career. Yeah, Marino broke so many records. And Marino only played in one Super Bowl.
He
He got
was the first guy to throw.
skunked.
He was the first guy to throw that many passes.
Yeah.
He was the start of the passing era.
He really was.
It's just
It's funny. Everybody talks about great quarterbacks. Peyton Manning has all the records, and I still think Joe Montana's the best of all time.
You don't have to. He is.
He is. I mean, just based.
I'm going Johnny Unitas.
Johnny
I'm going
Unitas.
yeah.
He won three championships.
But he only had to throw the
I'm
ball
going
15
Sammy
times, but he was
Baugh.
a game general.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Unitas was calling his own plays. He was a game
Yeah,
general.
he was.
I like Daryl Lamont.
If you want to argue Montana,
Montana was. Montana had that intangible though. You get it late into a game. He didn't have to pull things up, but when he did, I mean, it was just almost a routine.
I'll go Montana number 2 only because he was in a great system.
Well, that's the thing is you get those players
Yeah, but
and you have a front line like that.
but Joe Montana put the scare into a defense by walking out of the tunnel. Unlike Peyton, who would sit there and say Oklahoma, all this stuff, Montana just kind of coolly walked up there and figured, okay, I can see right now. Here's my second routine.
Yeah,
That's true.
And
Oh,
just
he had the great.
dissect.
He had that great ability. I've never seen anybody who could do that since Manning, of course. But I mean, I really like Russell Wilson. I have to say
Oh,
that
yeah, me too.
kid.
Yeah, he's got a good
He,
future.
as much as Kaepernick has got an upside, I think Wilson's even got a better upside.
Green Bay.
So he didn't go.
The other guy went to Green Bay. I went to Charlotte.
You got out of that one, huh?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, much better going to Charlotte.
All you gotta do is go to Green Bay
Yeah.
once.
Are you done with the interview, man?
I had to go twice. So, yeah.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, all the Super Bowl things that were going on with people not being able to get it. Oh,
I heard about that. It was like 5,000.
You got a Super Bowl segment in the show?
Was
A
it that
Super
many?
Bowl
Right
segment?
after.
Okay, all right.
Was it that many, Vernon, that missed going to the game because of the transportation?
Oh, was it?
screws?
Yeah,
They
it was,
missed
yeah.
that
It
many?
was bad, yeah.
5,000 or so?
Yeah.
Whoa.
This-
I thought Steelers didn't make it to
They
the
could make it the game, and then by the time they could, they figured out it's over, and the game was like 35-3 or
Yeah.
something.
And so many people passed out because there was no air.
Oh my
You
God.
hear about that?
No.
Oh, disaster. Okay.
All right.
There we go. Having fun? Oh yeah. Good. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn
Yeah, hello.
and Bruce
Manny.
McGowan.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
The theme is NFL quarterbacks. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Who was the first NFL quarterback to throw for 3,000 completions?
I'm going to say Johnny Unitas, but Vern.
I'm going Dan Marino.
He's going Dan Marino.
Those guys are going to Marino. I'm going to go with Johnny.
The answer was one of my favorite scramblers of all time.
Franz Tarkenton.
All wrong.
Okay.
Jeez.
Now, we're not going to the lighthouse, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Russell Wilson could be the modern day Franz Tarkenton.
Yeah.
He scrambles.
Yeah, Kaepernick too. Okay. Gino, you are a private investigator, and before we were on the air, you were telling me about an interesting story about minor league baseball player.
Well, I think we were talking about how does workers' comp relate into the sports world. And in minor league baseball, these guys got to remember this: they spend 3, 4, 5 years in the system and never make it. You know, it takes a toll on your body because they've been playing since they were kids, and they go back into another occupation, and they finally get out of sports. And we do work for Major League Baseball, and we had a case where an ex-baseball player filed a claim, couldn't use his shoulder anymore, couldn't lift 10 pounds, couldn't lift his kids, put a claim in, he wanted surgery, he wanted a cash settlement, and they said, we had Major League Baseball calls and say, hey, go take a look at this guy. So we got out to where he lived, it was in another state, found that he used to teach at a sports academy for kids for baseball. His picture was everywhere, but he no longer worked there, so we staked out his house. And the garage opened up and we saw mitts, balls, bats, helmets, nothing but baseball equipment. And then it followed him to a vacant field. And sure enough, a few minutes later, a father and his son showed up and he starts pitching for the next hour. And this went on for 3 or 4 hours, and we were able to determine that this guy was getting the prize pupils from the school on his own and taking them out to a field where no one could see him while he was running a comp claim. So that's just an example of how workers' comp stuff works in baseball, but that happens on a regular basis because
sneaky.
These guys don't get to that top level. They make the big money.
They got to make it some way. Yeah.
No one's exempt from insurance fraud.
But I assume this guy, unfortunately for him, didn't get anything. Got into trouble.
I think his arm got better real quick.
Yeah, really.
Well, it's too bad he couldn't have made a career continuation there.
Well, I remember Brian Bosworth. He got either $4 or $6 million in disability insurance.
That's right.
Both his shoulders.
Both his shoulders were ruined. Yeah. I think for
know,
Bo Jackson.
Well, what's really sad is when you and this breaks my heart because when you see these old NFL players, these guys that just hey, I have a headache. Well, get back in the lineup. I think I hurt my knee. No, it's broken. Here's an ace bandage.
Take a pill. It's just a bruise.
Be a man.
Be a man.
Yeah. Well, we had John Vella on.
Oh, I bet you he had some stories to tell.
Oh yeah,
because he offensive lineman. Those guys take a. You talk about guys who take a beating.
Well, he was saying when he got traded from the Raiders to the Vikings in 1980, it was really cold outside in Minnesota, right? And he put on he always taped his fingers.
Right.
And one of the assistant coaches comes up to him and says, "Hey man, or he put gloves. Sorry, no gloves." So what are you talking about?
Bud Grant didn't allow it.
Yeah, Bud Grant didn't allow it. It's
That's
like,
ridiculous.
I love Bud Grant because I love the Vikings,
yeah.
but it's like, come on, don't be calling these guys like wussies or something. They got to protect their hands.
Yeah.
You want them healthy for the next game.
Oh, Bud Grant used to love playing those outdoor games. He just when they moved into a dome, he was the first one to complain. No, you're taking away our edge.
Well, it's like Joe Namath. They said that he was the only one there who said he wished it was colder.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Tatum playing today?
Oh, jeez.
The arm clock over the middle.
Yeah. Ouch. Yeah, he'd be kicked out of the game for so many penalties.
Tell you what, we'll probably talk about more investigation stuff, but Gino just loves sports, so he wants to talk about this. Okay, let's talk about the Super Bowl.
Okay,
course.
all right.
Next.
What an awful game.
Yeah.
First of all,
awful game.
I think we've seen enough to know that Manny Ramirez is not a center for the Denver Broncos. In fact, he was a converted center.
Yeah, he said he couldn't
so
hear.
He's playing out of position.
Couldn't hear anything but Peyton was saying.
Peyton went to audible, and then he just snapped the ball, and then it was downhill from there.
Is it me, or did Peyton seem out of sorts from the beginning?
Well, I think that play set the tone. Sometimes when we're only down to, as you were pointing out before the show.
I think Peyton knew from the get-go, even in the huddle. I think he knew
that was just not going to be his day. Yeah.
The Seattle's front seven were going to be brutal on his own offensive line, and that you saw how quick his feet were moving. He had to get rid of. If he was going to have any chance, he had to get rid of that rock fast.
How many completions he had? More completions. That's the amazing. They were all like 5 yards, 7 yards.
The Seattle defensive secondary they were like white on rice on those receivers.
See, I love that they were all over the ball. No matter where it was, it's like everybody was running to the ball.
It's safe to say after a few minutes of that game, there was no You know, there was nothing to call into question.
No.
There was no
No.
ref this or this call or what. Seattle was clearly the better football team. In fact, I would go so far as to saying that the Niners could have beaten the Broncos.
No, no
I'd say
no
Charlotte could have beaten the Broncos.
On that day,
Yeah.
On that day.
And I hate to say this, it kills me, but I think Pete Carroll did a great job having those guys ready to play.
What does it kill you to say that?
Yeah.
Pete Carroll's a good guy.
Yeah.
49er guy.
Yeah, sure, but he's a local guy for us.
Yeah, he's a local guy. I went to high school with him. Don't say anything bad about Pete Carroll. That's
Just gave a compliment, Bruce.
I got an angry email from a viewer because I did Sunday night show saying because I had made the point, just like all the other networks, had said that Pete Carroll joined Barry Switzer.
That's right.
And Jimmy Johnson as guys who have won a college football title and a Super Bowl. The guys, you got to check your facts. Pete Carroll didn't win the 04 national. It was vacated. Technically, yeah,
he won it.
Yeah, but
I mean, technically, he did win it.
I wrote back. I said, hey, you can't pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think Pete Carroll's worried about whether they took it away
Heck no.
10 years later. I don't think so.
Carroll's glad he got out when he was. He saw the writing on the wall. Maybe before the investigators came calling. I said, boy, I better get out of here. And he goes to Seattle.
Yeah.
And that's kind of killed Jim Harbaugh because last year his brother wins and then Carroll wins.
Yeah, and Carroll and him were not the best of friends. That old, the famous encounter in L.A. when he comes up to him and says, "What's your deal? You ran up the score on us. What was it, 55-10? Something like that, Stanford beat USC?
Yeah.
I think it was some payback there for years and years.
I think it was.
And let me tell you something, fellas. I think Seattle is here to stay.
Oh,
at
no
least for
question.
another
They're young.
couple of years. They're young. They got 18 unrestricted free agents on the team, including the place kicker and Golden Tate. But the rest of those core guys, they're all back.
Yeah.
And they're all under contract.
And they like playing for Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll is the wild card in this whole thing. He is so much a player's coach, like Harbaugh. Harbaugh may be a little bit more of a tight ass, but pardon my expression. But Pete Carroll, edgy. Pete Carroll
Did
is
you
like.
see how he was portrayed by Frank Caliendo? You've
No.
seen that video that's gone viral?
No.
Of
Frank Caliendo did a
Harbaugh?
ESPN 30 on 30 type documentary where he lampoons Harbaugh, John Gruden, Bill Belichick. I mean, and he nails them.
Wow, he does impressions of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
You have to see that.
Frank Caliendo.
It's all over the
Gotta
place.
check that out.
I do feel kind of silly though. Didn't I say Broncos were going to win?
You
27,
did.
27?
Well, I said it was only going to be 31-27. What did I know?
Well, can you imagine if someone would have said, yeah, I'll take Seattle and I'll give you 28 points.
I was reading that Vegas broke a record. They 19.5 million profit, more than the last three Super Bowls combined, because I think so many people thought Denver was going to win.
Yeah, but in theory,
and you look at it, you go, how the hell was Denver even favored?
Because
Vegas,
the Peyton Manning hype, the Peyton Manning factor.
I guess I bought into it. I admit it.
I did, because I remember them talking about. They mentioned this earlier, and I've heard this many times. A team with a good defense, with the best defense, always wins.
Five times a team has gone to the Super Bowl with the best defense in the NFL, and 5 times that team has won. They're 5-0 in Super Bowl history.
That's right. Yeah.
5 top defensive teams.
Actually, it's 4. Actually, it's 4 to the before the game was 4 out of 5 because the one wild card was when the Niners beat the Broncos 55-10. That's the one. That's the one where the number one offense beat the number one defense. That's the one.
Broncos had the number one defense that year?
In '89, yeah.
Is that right?
Really?
Wow. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me too.
That was an embarrassing game. I was at that game. I remember the Bronco players, they had that famous shot of Randy Gradishar or something, not Gradishar, but somebody on the sidelines of the Broncos. He's got a towel over his head looking at the scoreboard. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And now they got 5 Super Bowl losses as a franchise.
Oh.
Excellent.
And every one of those has been an embarrassment.
And guess what? On next year's schedule, guess what they got? They got the NFC West schedule.
Ooh.
Well, they might be able to take care of Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't know. Arizona got 11 wins, man.
Yeah.
They're on the rise.
Yeah.
So, Bruce, let me ask you a question. What do you think about the seeding? Do you think that needs to get changed? Us going to Green Bay?
I think it should be. I think they should do it.
Green Bay and Green Bay.
Based on record, don't you, Vern?
I think they should do it like the NHL does. I think they should get to the first round and then reseed from there.
There you go.
Oh,
NHL's got it right.
Or either that or just, record. What does the NBA have? It's record for the NBA, right?
Yeah.
The top 7, like right now the Warriors, for instance, would be what, 7th or 6th?
They're 6th right now.
6th right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, Bill. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up a little bit. I don't know if you heard about Roger Goodell is thinking about allowing players to use medical marijuana if experts can show that it helped treat
Why
conditions.
not? Why not? It's legal in 23 states.
That's true.
And it's legal. I guess medical marijuana is legal anywhere, isn't it? If you can prove that you need
no,
it.
I don't think so. No, in
Okay.
fact, it's interesting. The marijuana is recently legalized in Colorado and Washington.
Oh.
Who's in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Those two teams.
Yeah, in fact, it's funny. The head of the NFL Players Association was speaking at the Super Bowl, and his first line was, "Well, to be blunt," and everybody just started laughing. And then he figured out what he said. He goes, "Ah, yeah, I didn't see that." I walked into that.
Well, speaking of Broncos, Nate Jackson, a former Bronco, a tight end, was recently on Brian Gumbel stating that half of the NFL players prefer to smoke marijuana for painkilling rather than opiates.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
No
And then they
question.
tested all of the college players before the draft. That 3/4 of the draft would be eliminated.
Yeah.
It all started.
I can
with,
see that.
It all started with little Bill Clinton. Okay, we're going to cut to our second.
I did not inhale.
Yeah, that's right.
I did not inhale.
I just held it in.
I did not have sex with that woman.
That's right. Okay, here's the second commercial break trivia question again.
What
The
happened
theme
to
is
her?
NFL quarterbacks.
She's doing
We'll talk about
okay.
her in a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Okay, who was the first NFL quarterback to throw for 6,000 career completions?
Ooh.
The first three.
6,000. That's a lot. That's a lot of
That's a lot of
completions.
completions. The first three
Wow.
emails with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com. Answered this question: who was the first NFL quarterback to throw for 6,000 career completions? Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. Now, let me ask you a question.
Dan Marino, okay?
Was it Monica Lewinsky where he says I didn't inhale?
No. Yeah. She didn't inhale.
I didn't
No, that's
swallow.
when he pointed
I
at
didn't
the
swallow.
camera.
I
I
did
did
not
not
swallow.
have sex.
I didn't
with-
swallow. How did they ever nail Clinton? They found a stain of his on her dress,
Yeah, cum stain on her blue dress.
and they
She
and
saved it.
They were able to, because of that
Remember,
little
we are
stain, they were
recording
able to
for
get
you.
It's
his,
okay. Hey, that's all right.
They were able to get his DNA off that.
I
little stain.
suppose so.
Wow. And
Yeah.
for that, we had this
Can you,
crisis.
can you imagine the little? Can you imagine the little geeky, guy in the lab? He's going. Okay, let's see if I get a match.
The interviewed her. She went.
William Jefferson Clinton.
What?
What?
You know what amazes me? The French were probably laughing their ass off at us.
They were.
This happens every time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's our guys.
Yeah.
And the thing is, who cares if the guy was dipping it? For
The
crying
thing
out loud.
No, the one thing I didn't like is where he said, you know what, character doesn't matter.
Character doesn't matter.
It's like, really? I think that's the only thing that matters being president.
You know what's funny about the NFL too is they know they don't want to catch him because if they started testing
No,
everybody around for marijuana,
oh my
half
God.
the league would be out.
Yeah.
But that many guys smoke grass in the
They
NFL?
test the same time every year.
I thought the
really?
NBA was the one where everybody smoked.
The NFL lets you know every year when they're going to test you.
And it's
So
just for the regular season. Like,
it's in the off season they get tested.
Oh.
So as soon as they get tested, they all start smoking, and the NFL won't test them because they don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
I
That's
talked
an
to
animal.
a player once.
But
He
they
said
can
the way
say
smart.
He said the way NFL players were able to beat those tests too is they drink a bunch of echinacea, golden
Yeah, but
syrup.
the golden seal, the bus drivers have immunity to that.
Yeah.
But it takes at least, it depends on
It
your
takes
weight.
a couple of days.
If you're heavy, the white blood cells hold the marijuana in it.
THC.
THC.
Yeah.
But you didn't drink it like 3 gallons for like 3 or 4 days.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not that I've ever done that. But if you have to do that.
And that's going to cost you a lot of money too, because a little bottle is. I used to drink it because it's what it'll do.
Detox.
It's also if you want to build up a resistance in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
Very good for that.
too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn
what up?
and Bruce McCowan.
It's up.
Okay, when we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question again. The theme is NFL quarterbacks. Who was the first NFL quarterback to throw 6,000 career completions?
Peyton Manning.
Okay,
Dan Fouts.
Dan
Dan Fouts. Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning,
I'm going to go back to Dan Marino.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Oh my God! Should have gotten that one.
Wow.
Okay, boy. Okay, we'll see if we can get you on the.
Where did
hopefully in the
Brett
last
Favre go to college, by the way? Southern
Mississippi.
Southern
Yeah,
Mississippi.
talk about the obscure school. Wasn't
Very
there?
good.
There's somebody else that went to Southern Mississippi.
Jerry Rice.
No, he went to
no,
Mississippi
no,
Valley.
Mississippi Valley
There was a
State.
big name player recently who went to Southern Mississippi. Who
Okay,
was it? I'll
we'll
figure
think
it
about that.
out. Okay.
It wasn't Michael Orr because he went to
No.
Ole Miss. Okay, I don't know if you guys heard about this bracket challenge here, but Quicken Loans and Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett, have announced they'll award $1 billion to anybody with a perfect March Madness bracket.
Whoa.
Now, what do you think the odds are of having a perfect March
And that just means you have to pick the winners. You don't have to pick the scores, right? The winners.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you just pick the
winners.
winner of the
Pick the winner.
bracket.
That's still
Yeah.
pretty
What do you
darn.
think the odds
Didn't it
are
happen last year?
that anybody got perfect?
Something-
Yeah.
I don't
Really?
know. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
1,000 to 1?
No, can't. That's got to be more than that.
10,000 to 1.
It's got to be more than that.
100,000 to 1.
Got to be more than that.
Million to 1.
It's got to be more than that.
A billion to 1.
4.3 billion to 1
Whoa!
are the odds of getting
Oh, my
all the, and I
God.
haven't done it on my calculator.
Yeah, how would you get all the upsets? How could you figure that out? You just have to be lucky.
Yeah,
Incredibly
that's all it
lucky.
is. Well, it's like, we talked about this before, like on the business show. If you have if you have the lottery that is paying, let's say, $500 million, and if the odds are 250 million to 1, you should just get $250 million and buy every single combination.
Yeah, there you
The only
go.
problem, though, is that it's an aggregate winner. So if you have two people winning, you each win 250.
There you go.
Right, so that could be a problem.
That could be.
Okay, Andrew Bynum doesn't like the repetitive nature of fundamentals. How can a team interview a player ahead of time to see those potential problems? Oh, we have an investigator here. What would you do in a situation like that?
I'd go very slowly and very carefully. And I'd say, I want to see you shoot a free throw. I want to see you dribble. I want to see you guard somebody. I want to see you dunk.
Yeah,
The simple things like, basketball basics. That's what I would do.
now with Lamar Odom, you've got, the Kardashian influence.
Is he still playing, by the
I
way?
don't think so. I don't think anybody's picking him up.
Well, he's doing okay. I mean, he's still on the reality show, isn't he?
I don't think so.
I don't think so,
No,
man.
That just lasted a year. That was amusing, though. I'm not a reality
Well,
show
when
person,
you get thrown out,
yeah, that's true. I got a kick out of that, though. When the little interchanges with his wife were hysterical. It was almost like the whole thing was scripted. I couldn't believe the guy was living this way. And he was a character.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard this, and finish off with this football thing here. Finally, our guy, Ray Guy, getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yay!
speaking of Southern Mississippi.
That's the guy I'm thinking of.
Ray
That's
Guy.
the guy. Ray
Okay,
Guy, yes.
what a
That's
coinky
the
dink.
guy.
We got just happened to get
Well, he was there during the glory years, 1973 to 1985 or 86.
Yeah.
They won 3 Super Bowls when he was there.
Yeah,
And nobody ever returned a single one of his punts for a touchdown. Not once.
that's amazing.
And he was only blocked, I think, 6 times in his career. And once the first time ever blocked was in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then
I remember
you know what happened? The Vikings were on the goal line. No score. They fumbled the ball 2 plays later. Clarence Davis goes left for 45 yards, and the Raiders go on to win that game 32-14. I was there.
There you go.
I remember all these
You have
details.
to tip your hand to Al Davis too.
Oh yeah.
For taking a kicker at number 1 pick. So.
Yeah,
I loved
he's
Al
a-
Davis. Everybody always says, Bruce, you're an apologist for Al Davis. Well, Al Davis, I got along with him well, so he was nice to me, so I'm going to defend him. So, there you go. I'm loyal to my friends.
Did a lot of great things for the
He
NFL.
did.
Absolutely.
He did.
You know?
Okay, and speaking of Al Davis and talking about like sports franchises, what's the most valuable sports franchise? What do you think?
Is the Yankees?
I mean, I would have thought it would have been the
Most
Yankees.
valuable sports
Football team?
is it
Is
the
it
Dallas
No,
Cowboys?
Cowboys are the Yankees.
Nope. Okay, the Yankees are number 4.
Oh, you know what? Hey, no. It's
Go ahead.
it's
You got it. You know it.
it's
Come on, give us
it.
Come on,
it's-
all right,
it's
all right,
Manchester United.
Manchester.
It is actually. Let's see. Manchester United is number 2. You're close.
Well, I'm talking. Well, that's a trick question because you didn't say.
I
it was
just
outside
said
the
the
country.
sports. I just said.
He
sports.
said sports
Okay.
franchise. He didn't say American.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you have here Spain's Real Madrid.
Oh, of course.
Okay, Real
They're
Madrid.
number 1.
Okay, England's Manchester United is number 2, and Barcelona of Spain is number 3.
Wow.
Yankees are number 4 at 2.3 billion. Dallas Cowboys are 2.1 billion, so they're behind that. And 30 of the NFL's 32 teams made up the top 50.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Where are our 49ers?
Okay, I didn't look at all 50,
Okay.
but a little quick trivia question: what 2 teams didn't make the top 50?
Oh, of the 32
Yeah.
of the
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville
Jags. That's right.
and
Charlotte? Charlotte?
No, I'm gonna.
Rams.
The Rams?
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why they're leaving. That's why they're leaving St. Louis and going to LA. Probably. I mean, they're not doing it for sure, but
yeah, I was going to go back to LA.
That's the
there's
talk now?
That's the talk, yeah.
You know, you wonder why doesn't LA have a team?
Well, they haven't had a team since
If
1995.
I live in Los Angeles, I don't want a team.
No,
That way I get all the best
You
games.
get two
every
great
weekend.
games. 2 great games in the morning, 2 great games at night. A friend of mine lives down there.
Would they be playing in the Coliseum again? Because I think one of the issues was, they wanted a new stadium to get an NFL team.
Oh, they'll get a stadium built.
Fix up the Coliseum. You know?
They'll get a
Oh,
stadium.
wait, you're talking about for blackouts?
Yeah, no, LA gets the best 2 morning games and the best 2 evening games.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely.
You're talking about
Always.
TV.
Television, yeah.
So if they have a team, they're suddenly not good?
No.
Yeah, because the team will suck. You'll just get that one.
Yeah.
You'll get that team's
you'll get
games in the market.
Yeah, you'll get the other games
And maybe
too.
one other game.
Yeah, you'll get a couple other games, but
I think didn't they just talk about that too? That they're going to not have blackouts. Of course, they'll change it like the weather. Or
well, no,
something
they've always had the blackout rule has been out for years. But what we're saying is that you could have, say, the Rams play an afternoon game. Isn't the rule that you can't have another game going up against
up against your market's team?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And Rams fans, Rams fans, LA sports fans. I'm sorry, they're the most. They blow with the wind. Show me a real fan who's a true fan of the Rams. Come on.
Maybe the Dodgers.
Maybe the Lakers, but the other teams down there, no, I don't.
And now
think
the Clippers are kind of, we got a lot of fans there.
Yeah.
It's because you got Blake Griffin and you got Paul.
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, the Clips are starting to turn it around.
Not the same old paper clips.
No.
Paper clips.
Yeah.
Okay.
On paper, they're pretty good too.
That's true. Okay, Matt Scherzer agrees to a 1-year deal with the Tigers for $15.5 million.
He's
Nice.
underpaid.
I was going to say,
Underpaid.
is any pitcher worth that much
He's
money?
underpaid after what he did last year. I'm just saying. If I was his agent,
How many starts can a pitcher have?
so,
I mean, he's a
30
starter,
maybe?
right?
30.
30?
Yeah, and you can pay 162
30,
games.
33.
I mean,
Aren't there pitchers getting paid more than that though per year? I'm surprised he only signed for 1 year.
I know. I guess I'm just thinking that how much impact is one pitcher going to have?
15. That's
That's
like,
standard though.
That's
What did Tim Lincecum got?
That's Lincecum.
Yeah, he's got.
Neighborhood.
Is he getting $15 million a year?
A little less than that. I think more like 12.
But
Something
that's
like that.
yeah,
12,
and he's
14.
just average. I mean, what is he going to win? 12 games maybe for you? 15?
Yeah.
See, if he comes back, maybe he'll win more.
It'll be interesting to see what they give Baumgartner.
Yeah, no, that's
Well,
the guy.
they just signed him.
That's true, they did.
Yeah, they just gave him an extension.
Yeah.
I wonder how they do that. Like
He's locked up.
Yeah,
Baumgartner is now?
Yeah.
How much did they give him?
He got a 3-year deal, wasn't it? Vern?
Yeah. They
Was
tacked on 3 years. It's double digits.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. What if you're an owner and you happen to get lucky with somebody as a rookie and they start doing really well? Is there the inclination to kind of like go, you know what? We're going to give you this extra bonus now, even though you're not technically entitled to
Makes
it.
the player feel like he's more invested in it. Makes him feel like he's more wanted.
I mean,
It's a smart move.
Well, sort of like Kaepernick. I mean,
Yeah.
how much did he make last year?
He's making $744.
He's making 700, 750, something like that.
I think it's
750,000.
probably worth a little more.
And
than that.
they don't have to pay him this year, do they, Vernon? I mean, they could just pay him a little bit more next year because I think he's not eligible for the big.
He's up after this year.
After this year, okay.
And they were
He's
talking about
unrestricted.
putting a franchise tag on him if they didn't
Yeah.
sign him.
Yeah.
But if they do that, then he becomes a free agent after that
Yeah.
and goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
Robinson Cano, is he worth a 10-year, $240 million?
Absolutely.
Well, Seattle thinks so.
Absolutely not.
How old is he now?
He's 30,
31.
31, yeah. 30,
Yeah.
31, something like that.
Second baseman?
Good player, but I mean, nobody's worth
Is he
that
going to
kind of
play
money.
10 years?
No.
I just can't. I just want to be a fly on the wall on that family of 4. Both, the father and mother work. They come home and they go, "Come on, kids, let's get in the car. Let's go see Robinson Cano play."
Yeah.
I just can't.
I
just
agree.
can't
I'm with
see
you,
it.
Vernon, I'm with you. Seattle has shown that they're one of the most inept franchises. And I mean, I'm not talking about the Seahawks, the Mariners.
Yeah.
They're a joke. They are an absolute
Maybe
joke.
Ken Griffey Jr. will come back.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, come back to visit.
Maybe Babe Ruth will
Come back to get his jersey retired.
Yeah.
And does Cano really make the Mariners any better? Is he really a difference maker?
I think
It would be one thing on the management side. It would be one thing if you saw that he was going to be a draw. If he was going to sell some tickets.
He was like Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, but
Does Mariners sell out usually?
No, they get about 20,000 a game.
Okay.
And then maybe a little bit more than that. They're getting about 20,000, 25,000
And
a game.
how big is their stadium?
About 40, 45.
Yeah.
But a little bit bigger than Pac-Bell or AT&T or whatever.
It's a really nice stadium.
It is very nice. It's too bad because for 6 or 7 years, that franchise was doing great.
Yeah.
And it was really one of the destinations. I mean, look at the guys they turned out. A-Rod, Griffey,
Edward Martinez.
yeah, Edward Martinez, Randy
Randy
Johnson. Yeah, Felix Hernandez.
The new Giants left fielder.
Yeah, that's right.
Michael Morris.
Michael Morris.
They
Seems
call,
like-
him,
seems
they
like
call
a-
him the Beast.
He seems like a nice guy. You talked to him, right?
Yeah, interview. I had him on last weekend. Yeah.
Real nice guy.
Yeah.
Why is he the
Big guy,
Yeah.
6'5".
That's why he's the
Good.
beast.
Yeah, there you go. And he's got power. He's going to need it in that ballpark.
All right, last thing I want to cover here before we cut to the third commercial break. John Smoltz not getting into the Hall of Fame this year. I think it's because he had a rough 2009 year with the Red Sox. What do you think?
I think it's just wrong. I don't. Well, how can you keep John Smoltz
I think it's just
out?
I think it's
Maybe
a matter. I think it's a matter of the numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
he'll get probably get it next year.
Well, why does the NFL? Vernon, I got to ask you this: why do you think the NFL let so many more players in than Major League Baseball? Are there standards?
I think the NFL's limit is 8.
Is it? But they always have the full almost.
Well, there's so many great ones that are eligible. There's great ones that just can't get in.
Yeah, but baseball. I mean, there's a lot
Who
of
would
guys.
have thought it would take 2 times for Michael Strahan to get in?
That's
Yeah.
true.
You know?
Well, you got. I guess with football, you've got 11 on each side, whereas with baseball, you got 9.
But let's take an example. Here's Michael Young, just retired, 13 years in the league, 300 batting average, 2,200 hits. Does he belong in the Hall of Fame? If he was playing in the NFL with those numbers, I mean, translate those numbers into whatever stats you get in the NFL, he probably would get in.
He probably wasn't as much of an impact player.
Yeah.
Right? But here's the thing too: is like when a guy starts playing hurt and his numbers go down,
Yeah.
and you start looking at the whole career,
It can hurt you.
Yeah.
I think it can hurt you. Yeah.
And you have to get in the postseason. I think that really hurts when you do not get into the postseason.
Well, he did.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, he did, but he was never the big hero. I mean, look at Joe Namath. Joe Namath had crummy numbers.
Oh, I know.
Actually. I mean, really, he threw more interceptions than touchdowns.
But he won a Super Bowl.
But he won a Super Bowl in New York.
And
You know what I think? And I think this has hurt Tim Brown.
Yes.
But
He played for some awful
Twice as many yards, more touchdowns than Andre Reed, and Reed gets in.
I know. I don't understand that. Tim Brown's
But
been
Reed
passed
went to
over.
four
Yeah,
Super Bowls.
but I mean, Tim Brown, I bet you was all pro longer or more times than Tim Brown.
He gets in next year.
Yeah, he should.
He's in.
He's been passed over twice.
Okay, hold on to that thought. We'll cover that when we come back. Okay, here's the third and final trivia question. And again, the theme is NFL quarterbacks. Who was the youngest quarterback to play in a Pro Bowl at age 22?
Ooh.
All right?
Youngest to play in a Pro
Pro
Bowl.
Bowl at 22. And I'll give you a hint. I don't know how much of a hint this is. At age 23, he became the youngest to surpass the 10,000 yard.
Oh, I know who that was.
I shouldn't have given it to you.
I knew who that was.
Okay.
I was kind of leaning there, and you just pushed me over.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure.
Well, don't say yet.
Okay,
First
I
3 emails with the correct answer. Want a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at SportsEcon101. The answer to this question: who was the youngest quarterback to play in a Pro Bowl at age 22? And here's a hint: at age 23, he became the youngest to surpass the 10,000 yard passing plateau. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments.
It was the guy they talked about earlier, Dan Marino, right? Oh,
No, he's not. He's not.
He's holding. He's
I'm
playing his
holding
cards.
my- I'm holding my
Edward always
cards.
plays his cards closely.
Yeah,
Do we have a few seconds to get into the ugly American attitude that's already taken on the Sochi Olympics?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
all
Did you
the
hear about
pictures
the-
with the
yeah,
pictures.
Did you
of
buy the toilet paper issue? Did you hear about that?
No.
What's
They
that?
don't want you. They don't want you
Well,
to
they do
flush
over there,
any
yeah.
paper down the toilet. They want you to take
Yeah.
the paper and put it in a wastebasket.
Yeah. Can you
Why?
believe that?
Because it
But that's just how they do it over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Can
Oh
you
my
imagine
God.
that? That spreads disease. That spreads disease.
I'm just saying they don't want any clogged toilets.
You know,
Now,
I feel
Sochi sits
sorry for. I feel sorry for the athletes. It's like you have a chance to maybe go, let's say, to Rio later on, or LA.
Well, I've heard in the athletes'
Sochi.
quarters too, in the bathrooms, they have the toilets like in the military where they're all open, so you don't get any privacy. You're sitting there taking a crap, and there's not the person sitting next to you taking a
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
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 Just get it,
Men and women, or are they separate?
I with the women, I'm sure the women have. They probably have their own stalls.
Wouldn't the day make more sense? Just
Yeah.
eliminate the paper altogether.
Dude, when I was at the Sydney Olympics, when you among the things you get when you check in,
A lot
just
of freebies.
bags full of condoms, bags full.
Is that right?
And you can go back and get more. And
Well, that's
the
smart thinking.
and the
Smart thinking. We don't
the,
want any unwanted children.
the sexual tension and release just runs rampant in the Olympic Village.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Because
just
all the
born
young
dogs.
athletes.
Yeah, because they got to get rid of that
Oh yeah.
release.
Yeah. Well, and the women athletes too. You know, what makes the women more intense about their sexual feelings is the same thing the guys have. It's driving the guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Let's have some closing comments.
all right. We won't talk about that
Then I gotta
though.
get out of here.
This is a
Okay,
family
here
show.
we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn
Mm-hmm.
and Bruce
Yeah.
McGowan.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't sound so excited.
No, I'm very excited.
Okay, because you're excited about this question,
I am.
which is who was the youngest quarterback to play in a Pro Bowl at age 22? And here's the hint:
Go
at
get
age
him.
23, he became the youngest to surpass the 10,000-yard passing plateau.
Go get him, Bruce.
I'm going to say it's Marino.
Marino, you're wrong.
No.
I'm sorry.
I was wrong.
Anyone? Anyone?
No idea.
I have no idea.
Can you drew a?
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Drew Bledsoe.
Oh, Drew Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe.
Oh,
From
yes.
Washington State.
Gosh.
There you go.
That's right.
Okay, we have just a quick minute. Vern, you want to talk about the Olympics?
Well, I mean, we're in the Olympic moment, Sochi Olympics already. The complaints have come out from the American journalists about about how they don't want, they being those that run the Olympics, they don't want toilet paper flushed down. They want you to get rid of all the paper in a wastebasket next to the toilet.
Why don't they just burn it?
I don't get that at all. I mean,
That really stinks, Vern.
Ah, you're telling me.
I mean, that's spreading disease. And how is it that you
Can you
can't?
imagine coming home? Ah, gee, what's the Chinese food? Oh, that's not Chinese food.
Oh,
Ah.
my God.
Okay, here's our thoughts for the day, guys. Okay, Gene Bach, who's a former baseball player and manager, said, losing streaks are funny. If you lose at the beginning, you get off to a bad start. If you lose in the middle of the season, you're in a slump. And if you lose at the end, you're choking.
That's what happened with him. Remember in '64 with the Phillies.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And former hockey player and coach John Mariucci, said, every day you guys look worse and worse. And today you played like tomorrow.
Oh, I
love
like
that
that.
one.
That's a good one. I wonder if he was related to Steve. Steve
Steve
Mariucci.
Mariucci?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to ask
Same
about
spelling?
that.
Same spelling?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing more sports topics from a business perspective and giving away more free vacations for answering trivia questions. I want to thank our guest, Gene Immendorf, private investigator.
Thanks
being
for
on
having
the
me.
show. Of course, my
Where's his magnifying glass?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
and our co-host, of course, Bruce McGowan.
Thank you
and
very much.
Vern Glenn. Thanks for listening, audience. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
Before you guys take off, can I get a picture?
Oh, heck yeah, man.